All India Radio presents Morning News. Good morning. I'm Sarabjit Kaur and with me is Saira Mujtaba. The headlines. Prime Minister Narendra Modi says delimitation has to happen at a quick pace so that polls can be held in Jammu and Kashmir. Education Minister Ramesh Pokhriyal Nishank to interact virtually with students at 4 p.m. today on evaluation of CBSE board exams. President Ramnath Kovind to arrive in Kanpur today by special presidential train on a 5-day visit to Uttar Pradesh. More than 30.72 crore COVID vaccine administered in the country so far. National recovery rate improves to 96.61%. Out of 140 crore bank accounts in the country, 120 crore linked to Aadhaar so far. External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar to leave on a visit to Greece and Italy today. National Security Advisor Ajit Doval meets his Russian counterpart at Dushanbe in Tajikistan. US bars some solar products made in China's Xinjiang region alleging human rights abuses. India's Saurabh Chaudhary bagged bronze medal at ISSF World Cup shooting in Croatia, and 16 teams progressed to pre-quarter-final stage in Euro Cup football. As the nation gears up for free COVID-19 vaccination campaign at government facilities for those above 18 years, we advise our listeners to get vaccinated. We also advise our listeners not to lower their guard as COVID-19 remains a threat to our health. Please stay at home unless it is essential to go out and continue to follow the 4 simple steps. Wear face mask, maintain 2 gaz ki duri for social distancing, focus on hand and face hygiene and get vaccinated. For any COVID-related information and guidance, contact national helpline numbers 011-2397-8046 and 1075. And now the news in detail. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has said that the delimitation has to happen at a quick pace so that polls can happen in Jammu and Kashmir and it gets an elected government that gives strength to its development trajectory. Chairing a high-level meeting in New Delhi with leaders of various political parties of J&K, Mr. Modi stressed that the government's priority is to strengthen grassroots democracy in the Union Territory. He told leaders that it is possible, especially the youth who have to provide political leadership to J&K and ensure their aspirations are duly fulfilled. Mr. Modi also expressed satisfaction at the progress of development projects in the Union Territory. The Prime Minister urged all leaders to work together for the progress of the area and to realize the aspirations of the youth. During the meeting, Union Home Minister Amit Shah emphasized that the delimitation exercise and peaceful elections are important milestones in restoring statehood as promised in the Parliament. He also said Jammu and Kashmir has come a long way with major boost to development along with transparency. National Conference leaders Farooq Abdullah and Amar Abdullah, PDP Chief Mehbooba Mufti, Senior Congress leader Ghulam Nabi Azad, BJP leaders Ravinder Raina and Nirmal Singh, People's Conference leader Sajjad Lone and others attended the meeting. Briefing media after the all-party meeting last evening, Union Minister Dr. Jitendra Singh said talks were held in a very conducive atmosphere. He said the Prime Minister listened to every suggestion and praised everyone for keeping their points openly. Mr. Modi said in the meeting that everyone has to work together to strengthen democracy at grassroots level.
प्रधानमंत्री जी ने बैठक में 2 बड़ी बातों पर विशेष जोर दिया। उन्होंने कहा जम्मू कश्मीर में लोकतंत्र को ग्रास रूट तक ले जाने के लिए हम सबको मिलकर काम करना होगा। दूसरा, जम्मू कश्मीर में ऑलराउंड विकास हो, हर इलाके हर समुदाय तक विकास पहुंचे, इसके लिए साझेदारी हो और जन भागीदारी का एक माहौल बनाया रखा जाए, ये जरूरी। माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी ने इस बात को भी रखा कि जम्मू कश्मीर में पंचायती राज से लेकर दूसरे स्थानीय निकायों से जुड़े सभी चुनाव सफलतापूर्वक हो चुके हैं। सुरक्षा से जुड़े हालात भी बेहतर हो रहे हैं। पंचायत चुनावों के बाद करीब 12,000 करोड़ रुपए सीधे सीधे पंचायतों के पास पहुंचे हैं।
Dr. Singh said this is a positive effort towards giving development and strengthening democracy in J&K. He said everyone showed their loyalty towards the Indian democracy and the constitution.
जम्मू कश्मीर के विकास और लोकतंत्र को मजबूती देने की दिशा में ये एक बहुत ही सकारात्मक प्रयास रहा है। बैठक बहुत ही अच्छे वातावरण में हुई। सभी ने भारत के लोकतंत्र और भारत के संविधान के प्रति पूरी निष्ठा जताई। गृह मंत्री जी ने जम्मू कश्मीर की स्थिति, परिस्थिति और बेहतर होते हालात से सभी नेताओं को परिचित कराया। प्रधानमंत्री जी ने पूरी गंभीरता के साथ हर पक्ष, हर तर्क, हर सुझाव को सुना और उन्होंने इस बात को सराहा कि सभी जनप्रतिनिधियों ने खुले मन से अपनी अपनी बात रखी।
Prime Minister Narendra Modi has said that tradition and technology is the strength of Atmanirbhar Bharat. He said toys and games combine tradition and technology, and the country's capabilities in gaming and toys are continuously increasing. Prime Minister Modi yesterday interacted with participants of Toykathon 2021. It was launched to conceptualize innovative toys based on the Indian value system, which will inculcate positive behavior and good values among children.
इस चुनौतीपूर्ण समय में देश के पहले टॉयकेथॉन का आयोजन इसी भावना को मजबूत करता है। इस टॉयकेथॉन में हमारे बाल मित्रों से लेकर युवा साथियों, टीचर, स्टार्टअप्स और उद्यमियों ने भी बहुत उत्साह से हिस्सा लिया है। पहली बार ही 1,500 से ज्यादा टीमों का ग्रैंड फिनाले में शामिल होना, ये अपने आप में उज्जवल भविष्य के संकेत देता है। ये टॉयज और गेम्स के मामले में आत्मनिर्भर भारत अभियान को भी मजबूती देता है।
Education Minister Ramesh Pokhriyal Nishank will virtually interact with students today to discuss their concerns and queries related to evaluation of CBSE board exams. In a tweet, the minister said, students can share their doubts or suggestions through Twitter or Facebook by this afternoon.
President Ramnath Kovind will reach Kanpur in Uttar Pradesh today on his 5-day visit to the state. During the tour, he will visit his birthplace, Paronk in Kanpur Dehat district, and later he will go to the state capital Lucknow. Mr. Kovind will take part in various programs scheduled at his birthplace. The visit is special in the terms that after a long time, any president of India will take the train route to reach his destination. More details on this from our correspondent.
President Ramnath Kovind will embark on a journey to Kanpur on a special presidential train today from Safdarjung railway station in Delhi this afternoon. The stations en route have been decorated to welcome the president on his first train journey. The train will make 2 stopovers at Jhinjak and Rura of Kanpur Dehat, where the president will interact with his old acquaintances from his school days and from early days of his social service. The 2 stopovers are close to president's birthplace, village Paronk of Kanpur Dehat, where 2 functions to felicitate him are scheduled on Sunday. On June 28th, the President will board the train at Kanpur Central Railway Station to reach Lucknow for his 2-day visit to the state capital. On June 29th, he will return to New Delhi on a special flight. Sushil Chandra Tiwari, AIR News, Kanpur Dehat.
India's cumulative COVID vaccination coverage has exceeded 30.72 crore as per latest reports. As the new phase of universalization of COVID-19 vaccination commenced from 21st of June, more than 54.07 lakh vaccine doses were administered yesterday. A total of 35,44,209 vaccine doses were administered as first dose and 67,627 vaccine doses were given as second dose in the age group of 18 to 44 years. Cumulatively, over 7,43,45,000 people across 37 states and UTs have received their first dose, and a total of 15,70,839 have received their second dose since the start of Phase 3 of the vaccination drive. Over 68,000 patients also recovered during the last 24 hours, taking the total recoveries to more than 2,90,63,000. The ministry added that daily recoveries continue to outnumber the daily new cases for the 42nd consecutive day. The country has registered further improvement in the recovery rate, which has now increased to 96.61%.
In the national capital Delhi, a total of 109 fresh cases of COVID-19 were reported within 24 hours. The Delhi government said that 131 people have recovered from this infectious disease during the same period. A total of 8 deaths were reported in the city in the last 24 hours.
Chhattisgarh Chief Minister Bhupesh Baghel has appealed to the people to be alert in view of the increasing cases of Delta Plus variant of coronavirus in the neighbouring states of Madhya Pradesh and Maharashtra. The Chief Minister has asked the citizens to adopt COVID-appropriate behaviour. He laid thrust on wearing a mask, keeping physical distance and washing hands. Along with this, the Chief Minister has given instructions to keep strict monitoring on the movement on the interstate borders. Till now, not a single case of the Delta Plus variant has been reported in Chhattisgarh. Meanwhile, the COVID vaccination campaign is going on in full swing in Chhattisgarh. More details from our Raipur correspondent.
In Chhattisgarh, more than 80 lakh doses of COVID vaccine have been administered due to the efforts of health workers and local administration. Now, misconceptions about COVID vaccine in rural areas are being dispelled and villagers are coming forward to get the vaccine. There are some villages in many districts where 100% vaccination has been done. One such village is Tarra village of Durg district. All people above 18 years of age have been given the COVID vaccine. The health department sent a mobile team and motivated people for the vaccination by clearing the misconceptions. These efforts yielded positive results and now all the eligible villagers have got vaccinated. Vikalp Shukla, AIR News, Raipur.
The Orissa government will launch pneumococcal conjugate vaccine, PCV, under the Universal Immunization Program on the 30th of this month. As per official information, it will benefit nearly 8 lakh young children in the state annually and will help reduce the risk of morbidity and mortality due to pneumonia and meningitis.
The program being planned against the backdrop of the prevailing pandemic will be launched virtually at the state level. In yet another development, the state government has cancelled the allocation of COVID-19 vaccines to the private hospitals following the supply of vaccines for all age groups by the centre. Earlier, the state government had sponsored vaccination centres in private hospitals for the 18 to 44 years age group by providing them with a share of the state-procured vaccines. Meanwhile, about 282,000 beneficiaries have been vaccinated against COVID-19 in about 1,400 session sites across the state yesterday. Girish Chandrada, AIR News, Bhubaneswar.
Heads of the global health, intellectual property and trade bodies have announced a joint platform to help countries plug the gaps in accessing COVID-19 vaccines, treatments and technologies. World Health Organization's Tedros Ghebreyesus, World Intellectual Property Organization's Darren Tang and World Trade Organization's Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala said they want to map out further collaboration to tackle the pandemic. In a joint statement, they said they will implement a joint platform for tripartite technical assistance to countries relating to their needs for COVID-19 medical technologies. Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman has said that continuous and bold reforms taken by the government in the last 6 years has made India a great place to do business. She said India is rising as a global economic powerhouse with the help of macroeconomic stability, infrastructure-led economic growth opportunities and financial sector reforms. Finance Minister participated in the Global Investors Roundtable organized by the US-India Strategic Partnership Forum through video conferencing yesterday. 120 crore out of 140 crore bank accounts in the country have been linked to Aadhaar so far, enabling people to enter into the formal financial system. Talking to Market Mantra program of All India Radio, Unique Identification Authority of India UIDAI CEO Dr. Saurabh Garg said, through around 29 lakh micro ATMs in the country, people are able to do financial transactions using Aadhaar-enabled payment system AEPS.
We have a number of methods. You can do it through the portal. You can go online and you can do updation. We have Aadhaar Seva Kendras across the country. The post offices, 1.5 lakh of them, we are enabling them. Many of them have already been done. We have Aadhaar centers in the banks. We have consumer service centers which are enabled for updation and enrollment. So our objective is to ensure that Aadhaar anytime and anywhere.
You are listening to the morning news on All India Radio. A reminder of the headlines before we move on. Prime Minister Narendra Modi says delimitation has to happen at a quick pace so that polls can be held in Jammu and Kashmir. Education Minister Ramesh Pokhriyal Nishank to interact virtually with students at 4 p.m. today on evaluation of CBSE board exams. President Ramnath Kovind to arrive in Kanpur today by special presidential train on a 5-day visit to Uttar Pradesh. More than 30.72 crore COVID vaccines administered in the country so far. National recovery rate improves to 96.61%. Out of 140 crore bank accounts in the country, 120 crore linked to Aadhaar so far. External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar to leave on a visit to Greece and Italy today. National Security Advisor Ajit Doval meets his Russian counterpart at Dushanbe in Tajikistan. US bars some solar products made in China's Xinjiang region, alleging human rights abuses. India's Saurabh Chaudhary bags bronze medal at ISSF World Cup shooting in Croatia, and 16 teams progress to pre-quarterfinal stage in Euro Cup football. For quick news updates round the clock, follow us on our Twitter handle at AIR News Alerts.
The Centre is disseminating awareness of national helpline numbers for the benefit of citizens during the COVID-19 pandemic. The helpline number of the Health and Family Welfare Ministry is 1075. The Child Helpline number is 1098. For senior citizens of Delhi, Karnataka, Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan, Tamil Nadu, Telangana, Uttar Pradesh and Uttarakhand, the helpline number is 14567. The helpline number of the National Institute of Mental Health and Neurosciences, NIMHANS, for psychological support is 08046110007. The Ayush COVID-19 Counselling helpline number is 14443. And MyGov WhatsApp help desk number is 9013151515.
External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar will leave on a visit to Greece and Italy today. Briefing media, External Affairs Ministry spokesperson Arindam Bagchi said that during the 2-day visit to Greece, Dr. Jaishankar will meet his counterpart. This is the first visit at the External Affairs Minister level since 2003. After Greece, the minister will travel to Italy to attend the G20 ministerial meetings. Mr. Bagchi said these include the meetings related to foreign ministerial level as well as the development ministers level.
In Greece, he will be making a bilateral visit on June 25 and June 26 for talks with his Greek counterparts, apart from other engagements. This is, of course, the first visit at the EAM's level since 2003. After Greece, EAM will travel to Italy to attend the G20 ministerial meetings. These include the ministerial meetings related to foreign minister level as well as the development ministers level, both of which will be represented by EAM from India.
National Security Advisor Ajit Doval met his Russian counterpart Nikolay Patrushev on the sidelines of the SCO meeting at Dushanbe in Tajikistan. They discussed contemporary developments of bilateral, regional and global significance. Mr. Doval was in Tajikistan's capital Dushanbe for the Shanghai Cooperation Organization SCO meeting of national security chiefs. External Affairs Ministry said in New Delhi that the SCO NSA's meet in Dushanbe, Tajikistan discussed issues of international and regional security, countering terrorism, extremism and radicalism, countering illicit trafficking of drugs. The meeting also discussed the preparations for SCO Summit of Heads of State, which is likely to take place in Dushanbe later this year. Briefing media, External Affairs Ministry spokesperson Arindam Bagchi said an outcome document in the nature of a protocol was adopted after the NSA level meeting.
that Tajikistan holds the current chair of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization. Tajikistan hosted the 16th meeting of the SCO Secretaries of the National Security Council's meeting on June 23rd in Dushanbe. The Indian delegation was led by our National Security Advisor. Secretary General of the SCO and the Executive Director of the SCO Regional Anti-Terrorist Structure also participated in this intergovernmental meeting. The meeting discussed issues of international and regional security, countering terrorism, extremism and radicalism, countering the illicit trafficking of drugs, and also the preparations for the SCO Summit Heads of State, which is to take place in Dushanbe, fully in September this year.
United States has barred some solar products made in China's Xinjiang region, alleging human rights abuses. White House last night announced steps to crack down on forced labor in the supply chain for solar panels from Xinjiang, including a ban on imports from a silicon producer there. In one of the newly announced actions, U.S. Customs and Border Protection banned imports of silica-based products made by Hoshine Silicon Industry Company as well as goods made using those products. U.S. Commerce Department also added Hoshine Silicon Industry, Shanshan Company and 4 other Chinese entities to a trade blacklist. AIR Leh celebrates its Golden Jubilee today. It was on this day in 1971 AIR Leh started its service. A 2-term Member of Parliament for Ladakh, Kushok Bakula Rinpoche was instrumental in establishment of AIR Leh Station in 1971. It was foresightedness and continuous persuasion of father of modern Ladakh, Kushok Bakula Rinpoche, that helped landlocked Ladakh to connect with the rest of the world with radio services. Our Leh correspondent has fired this report.
Kushok Bakula Rinpoche continuously pursued radio services to reach out Ladakhis with right information by the Indian government. Kushok Bakula Rinpoche, then personal assistant and presently Mongolia-based Asian Buddhist Conference for Peace, Deputy Secretary General Mr. Sona Wangchuk Shakpo remembers Rinpoche's efforts in establishment of All India Radio Station in Leh.
Kushok Bakula Rinpoche pleaded with the government of India to set up a All India radio station in Leh and in Kargil because situation in those days was very precarious. Rinpoche very strongly felt that they should be countered, and to do that we need an All India radio in Leh.
The government set up a Ladakhi unit in Delhi and sent 85 minutes Ladakhi language program Delhi by air to Srinagar. Broadcasts were listened by the Ladakhis through village level community radio set in loudspeakers.
Government of India decided to set up radio station in Leh itself. It was inaugurated on 25th of June 1971.
Finally, then JNK Planning and Cooperative Minister Sonam Wangel inaugurated AIR Leh Station on this day in 1971. Ever since, AIR Leh has become lifeline in Ladakh region. With Ramesh Chandra, Yangchen Dolma, Air News, Leh Ladakh.
With 29 days to go for the Tokyo Olympic Games, All India Radio will take a look at face of India's most promising teenager shooter, Manu Bhakar, who will be the busiest shooter at the Tokyo Olympics.
Born on February 18, 2002 in Chhajjar, Haryana, Manu created a sensation in shooting circles by winning gold in her ISSF World Cup debut. The women's 10-meter air pistol finals at Guadalajara boasted of experienced Olympians such as Alejandra Zavala Vazquez, Celine Gubervilla and Anna Korakaki. Yet, the event was won by an unknown Indian teenager. Manu's feat heralded the revival of India's shooting on the international stage. The majority of India's top shooters were aged 20 or younger, and it all started with a 16-year-old creating history in Mexico. While Manu has had her moments in women's 25-meter pistol, it's in women's 10-meter air pistol where she has had the most success. Soon after her Guadalajara heroics, she came into national prominence again. After winning gold at the 2018 Commonwealth Games 2019, saw the advent of Manu's mixed air pistol partnership with Saurabh Chaudhary. Starting from their senior debut at the 2019 ISSF World Cup at New Delhi, the duo has won all possible golds at ISSF WC competitions since then. Manu's biggest medal till date has been the gold at the 2019 edition of the prestigious ISSF World Cup final. She stunned everyone by shooting 244.7 in the finals. The score was a new world record in women's junior 10-meter air pistol finals. AIR News, Sports Desk.
In shooting, world number 2 Saurabh Chaudhary opened India's account at the ISSF World Cup at Osijek, Croatia, with a bronze in the men's 10-meter air pistol event yesterday. Saurabh scored 220 in the 8-man finals after qualifying with a score of 581. Iran's Jawad Farooqi claimed gold, his second in successive ISSF World Cups, while the seasoned 3-time Olympian Damir Mekic of Serbia won silver, finishing with scores of 243.0 and 241.7 respectively. Compatriot world number 1 Abhishek Verma finished 5th in the same event with a score of 179.3 after also shooting 581 in the qualifying. A total of 5 Indians made finals on the day, but Saurabh's was the only medal.
In the Euro Cup, the matches of group stage has been completed with 16 teams progressing to the pre-quarterfinal stage or round 16. On the last day of the group stage yesterday, France, Germany and Portugal qualified for round 16 from Group F, while Hungary was eliminated. Defending champions Portugal finished third on the table, qualifying as one of the best third-place teams. While Germany managed to edge their way into the knockout stages after a late 2-2 draw to Hungary, France completed to a 2-2 draw with Portugal in dramatic evening action. The teams which have made it to round 16 are Wales, Denmark, Italy, Austria, Netherlands, the Czech Republic, Belgium, Portugal, Croatia, Spain, France, Switzerland, England, Germany, Sweden and Ukraine. The round of 16 matches will begin tomorrow with Wales taking on Denmark in the knockout phase of Euro Cup 2020. There will be 2 matches on Sunday with Italy pitched against Austria and the Netherlands pitted against the Czech Republic.
And now let us take a look at the weather forecast for the day. The national capital Delhi may witness thunderstorm with rain. The minimum temperature was 28 degrees and the maximum may go up to 38 degrees Celsius. Mumbai will have a generally cloudy sky with light rain. The minimum temperature was 27 degrees Celsius while the maximum is expected to be around 33 degrees. Chennai will see generally cloudy sky with light rain or drizzle. The temperatures will vary between 26 and 37 degrees Celsius. Kolkata, the minimum temperature was 27 degrees Celsius and the maximum will go up to 33 degrees. Jammu, the minimum temperature was 25 degrees Celsius while the maximum will be around 38 degrees. Srinagar, the temperatures will hover between 15 and 29 degrees Celsius. In Leh, the minimum and maximum temperatures will be between 9 and 24 degrees Celsius. In Gilgit, the temperatures will hover between 15 and 33 degrees Celsius, while in Muzaffarabad, the minimum temperature was 21 degrees Celsius and the maximum will be around 38 degrees. In Dehradun, the minimum temperature was 22 degrees Celsius, while the maximum will be around 33 degrees.
And now an overview of today's newspapers. Almost all the newspapers today lead with the Prime Minister's talks with leaders of Jammu and Kashmir that were held yesterday. The Indian Express headline reads, Polls first, statehood later, says Prime Minister. Parties welcome government move. Eyeing the promising toy industry, the Economic Times, quoting the Prime Minister, says, Make India Atmanirbhar in toy making. With the pace of vaccination among the elderly having dropped, the Hindustan Times writes, Shots for 60-plus group hit hesitancy hurdle. While the Indian Express informs, Gujarat tells businesses to vaccinate staff or face shutdown. Putting at rest the matter of internal assessment for Class 12 students, quoting the Apex Court, the Hindu headline reads, Notify Class 12 assessment plan, SC tells state boards. And finally, in an effort towards ecological restoration, 5 mini-forests to come up in North Delhi in a fortnight, informs the Times of India.
And now, before we end the bulletin, the headlines once again. Prime Minister Narendra Modi says delimitation has to happen at a quick pace so that polls can be held in Jammu and Kashmir. Education Minister Ramesh Pokhriyal Nishank to interact virtually with students at 4 p.m. today on evaluation of CBSE board exams. President Ramnath Kovind to arrive in Kanpur today by special presidential train on a 5-day visit to Uttar Pradesh. More than 30.72 crore COVID vaccine administered in the country so far. National recovery rate improves to 96.61%. Out of the 140 crore bank accounts in the country, 120 crore linked to Aadhaar so far. External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar to leave on a visit to Greece and Italy today. National Security Advisor Ajit Doval meets his Russian counterpart at Dushanbe in Tajikistan. US bars some solar products made in China's Xinjiang region alleging human rights abuses. India's Saurabh Chaudhary bags bronze medal at ISSF World Cup shooting in Croatia, and 16 teams progress to pre-quarterfinal stage in Euro Cup football. And with that, we end the morning news. Have a nice day.